What is the difference in interest rates between fixed versus variable interest rates?
A lot of people like to take 30-year mortgage and keep paying extra so that they can pay it off quicker. That's a better strategy. 15-year I wouldn't advise unless you are sure. Refinances, typically it comes with closing costs, right? So the refinances should make sense. You need to have a crystal ball, right? Crystal ball in the sense you need to know two answers. One is, how long do I want to keep this property? If you think that you're going to sell it after 2 years.
And I recently called one of my clients, and he had a very average salary, and he decided he would make 4 extra payments a month. He's paying his home off in like less than 10 years.
Yeah. 3 things that I wouldn't get totally wound up about. One is the interest rate. When you're shopping, don't go crazy about interest rate. Look at all the other details, how much extra payment you're making.
Sometimes people get themselves in trouble trying to refinance a mortgage too many times, and then you just never pay off your home. There are people that get in situations where they have high interest debt, and they'll want to
How to decide when to refinance? Like, what is a good situation where you should go for refinancing?
See, ultimately, this is like the wealth estate plan. This is your wealth plan, right? Investment. If you have a credit card balance or a car balance that you have a lot of interest rate, it's okay to refinance and take the cash out and pay it off.
Moving on to the next question. Ashish is asking, what is the difference in interest rates between fixed versus variable interest rates?
Yeah, I'll take that answer. Question. Okay. So, fixed interest rate is typically they have a term, right? 15-year or 13-year. Your payment will be the same for the entire term, 15 or 30 years. You will not have prepayment penalty for residential. If you can keep paying extra, let's say you get a 30-year loan, you keep paying extra, then it reduces the term. It will not reduce your payment. It will still have the minimum payment the same for 30 years. Year 2 or year 3, you pay, let's say 5,000, 6,000 extra, you're getting a bonus, you pay it down. So instead of it being 30 years, it's going to reduce to 27, 26 years like that. A lot of people like to take 30-year mortgage and keep paying extra so that they can pay it off quicker. That's a better strategy. 15-year I wouldn't advise unless you are sure that you'll be able to make that payment. Things change in 15 years. After 5 years, you might be interested to buy another property. If you already take a 15-year, then qualification will become difficult to buy another property. Instead, you take 30 years and pay just like 15-year mortgage and you can pay it off faster. So that is one. Second option is adjustable rate mortgages. ARMs are like teaser rates. Teaser rates in the sense that you will have lower rate for the first few years with a clear indication on what the rate will be after the initial term expires. 5-year ARM, 7-year ARM, 10-year ARM. Those are the most popular. 5-year ARM is the most popular one. It was popular mainly in California. It started with wherein the prices were too high. People were unable to afford it. So the 5-year ARM will get the low rate for the first 5 years. Only the ARM rates are lower than that of conventional, regular 15 or 30-year fixed typically. But lately we've been seeing they are going pretty much neck to neck. The disadvantage with 5-year ARM, right? Let's say you get a 5-year ARM right now. The teaser rate, the market rate is 6%, the teaser rate will be 4%, let's say. For 5 years, it will be 4%. The 6th year, if the interest rate goes up to like 12%, then your rate also adjusts based on the market. So you'll be screwed. So there is ambiguity. That's why people don't like the ARM rate. It's kind of risky.
So can you refinance in 6th year if you go for AI?
Yeah, you can refinance it. There is no problem. But there it's speculative. You don't know what year 6 will be. You can refinance any time between now and there.
Is there any penalty for it?
There is no penalty. Refinances, typically it comes with closing costs, right? So the refinances should make sense. We do zero-cost refinances. The way we do zero cost is if the market rate is, let's say, 5%, we just increase the rate, let's say 5.25, and then we'll say, okay, we are going to pay for all your closing costs. So that is no cost refi. So we do that quite a bit. People don't want to pay anything out of pocket, they refinance. So you can refinance anytime.
So what do you think, when to go for a fixed rate and when to go for a variable rate?
See, the thing is, first is you need to have a crystal ball, right? Crystal ball in the sense you need to know two answers. One is, how long do I want to keep this property? If you think that you're going to sell it after 2 years, sell it after 2 years, you made up your mind, regardless of the market goes up or down, I'm going to sell it in 2 years. That means you only care about interest rate for the first 2 years. What happens year 5 is immaterial. When you go for adjustable rate mortgages. But then with that, the risk that you take is, let's say you end up keeping the property. Let's say the market crashes year 2, you have to hold the property. Interest rates are very high. You have to take the risk that year 6, it could be like double the payment. That's what happened during recession. A lot of people got adjustable rate and rates went crazy and people couldn't afford the place and they all went to foreclosure.
Yeah, it became not affordable. So definitely it depends on your plan. If you're going to be there 5 to 7 years, maybe the ARM is fine. But I think if it's a long-term purchase for you, fixed seems to me more secure, more safe, and more sensible. And like he said, I've advised a lot of people over the years, just make one extra payment a year, divide it up by 12, and you'll cut a lot of years off your mortgage. And I've told people that, and I recently called one of my clients, and he had a very average salary, and he decided he would make 4 extra payments a month. He's paying his home off in like less than 10 years.
Yeah, people pay off the home a lot of time. So, 3 things that I wouldn't get totally wound up about. One is the interest rate. When you're shopping, don't go crazy about interest rate. Look at all the other details, how much extra payment you're making, get to that rate. Second thing is, don't go crazy with ARM just because you know that you want to sell, because there will be a lot of ambiguities on where the rate could be, and you might not be able to refinance for maybe 7, 8, 10 years, who knows. So make sure that you understand the risk with that. Third thing with that is, you have to, whatever rate or the program that you choose with, make sure you understand all the details. You understand what the floor rate is, what the peak rate is, because even with ARM, they have like a bracket as to the highest it could go to. So you ask the mortgage loan guy, okay, if it goes to the highest, what will be my payment? And then you kind of estimate, okay, that will be year 6. In year 6, how much can I rent the property for and how much this payment will be? So you have to speculate and do all those calculations and figure out.
Okay, so there is a follow-up question on that. So Ashish is asking, how to decide when to refinance? Like, what is a good situation where you should go for refinancing?
General rule of thumb is, if the interest rate drops by around 0.75%, I would say you should talk to the mortgage broker to see if it makes sense. Refinance makes sense for a lot of people in many different situations. Some people, they go for 10-year mortgage or 15-year mortgage and suddenly now they have to buy another property. They're not qualifying for both. They have to refinance and get this to a 30-year. So you have to do refinance. But purely as a financial, we have a calculator actually, wherein whatever your payment is, because it depends on the situation. That's a loaded question. Let's say you got I have a home that I financed it in year 2005. That time I didn't know I got a 15-year mortgage, right? So 2020, it was paid off. So the last 3 years of my mortgage, it's only principal. There is not much interest. But the interest rates have dropped. I was paying almost 4% for 15-year mortgage. But then the interest rates were 2.5%. When I entered in my calculator, it didn't make sense for me to refinance, even though my rate on paper was higher than the market, because it's in the tail end of the term and it's only principal in the last 3 years. There is not much interest I'm paying. So his question is, there is more. Take a picture of his mortgage statement and send it to a mortgage broker and let the mortgage broker figure out if it makes sense for him to refi. That's the correct answer. But general rule of thumb, I'll say, is 0.75, because if I don't say it, it's like you go to a doctor, he doesn't prescribe you anything. You think the doctor knows nothing, right? That's why I'm saying 0.75. But the real answer is you have to make the calculation.
So how does that consultation go? Like, if say the rates have gone down by 0.75 and he needs to see what is the feasibility, he sends the statement to a mortgage broker is that consultation like free till that
Yes.
point, or how it?
It is free. The way I do it is I have a calculator. I do this, right? Currently, if they are paying column 1, currently if they are paying 4.5%, how much is the total number of months left to pay off the home? Right? If they took 15-year or 30-year mortgage, it will say, okay, 320 months is left to pay off the home. So now the new rate in the next column, this is the principal because the principal changed, right? So the principal for this rate, how long does it take? Pay off. So now we are talking 30-year mortgage. Now before it is that now it is like less than 30 years because he paid 2 years or 3 years. Now we are resetting the mortgage to 30 years again. So since the term is expanding, I want to know the real calculation if it's going to really save him the money. Then what I'll do is, assuming he's going to make the same payment, let's say he's making 2,500, the new payment, minimum payment is 1,900. So a lot of times the mortgage broker says, yeah, I can save you $600 a month and then force you to refinance. No. It's going to 1,900, but then assume you're paying the same. So I add $600 extra principal payment, and then I look at my total number of months. If the total number of months is less than 300 months, that means that the guy is saving money. So that's how we make the calculation for refinance. But mortgage brokers, typically, if you call anybody, let's say Costco, right? Costco is big. Everybody loves Costco. You call the Costco mortgage guy. They'll say, yeah, we can save you $800 a month. Submit the application. People will be like, they submit the application. They would have paid off in 10 years. Now it's 30 years.
Sometimes people get themselves in trouble trying to refinance a mortgage too many times, and then you just never pay off your home.
Yeah.
There are people that get in situations where they have high interest debt, and they'll want to cash out refi to pay off this high interest debt that they might have at play. But you do that kind of stuff too many times, and I feel like you'll be broke your whole life because you never pay that home off. So you got to be careful. It's a real balance. I mean, you do want to pay off your home. And so,
Yeah. See, ultimately, this is like the wealth estate plan. This is your wealth plan, right? Goes back to you need to have a mortgage broker who can give you the right advice, whether it makes sense to refinance so that you can build a nest egg properly. If you have a credit card, let's say you pull some money to pay for kids' college, or if you're making another investment, if you have a credit card balance or a car balance that you have a lot of interest rate, it's okay to refinance and take the cash out and pay it off, as long as the numbers make sense. If the credit card charge is like 8-9%, and if you're able to get this for much lower, you can do it. So that's why this good mortgage broker is somebody who can help you with your wealth plan and do all these calculations. You have to divulge to the mortgage guy, okay, I have this credit card debt, I have these 3 cars that I have payments for, this is my payment, then we can do a debt consolidation and offer the solution.
Let me ask you a follow-up question. Like, if you were someone who is trying to refinance his home, what would be the best deal for you? If you are a buyer, what would be the best deal for you when you are refinancing? Like, what is the best case scenario?
The best deal is, even if I'm able to sell 10 cents a month, saves 10 cents a month, if I'm able to refinance with no cost, I feel it's a good deal because money, hard-earned money. You will have to make the calculation, and if it makes sense, if it should make sense. And if the mortgage broker should be able to present you proposal and what you're doing and how long it will take for you to save, because refinance is going to cost money. Somebody has to pay. There will be title fees. So somebody has to pay for it. We offer zero cost finances because we absorb the cost. And for us, absorbing the cost, the interest rate is slightly higher if we have to do a zero cost mortgage. So numbers have to make sense. Even if it says, let's say $50 a month, savings. I mean, why are you paying the bank? You should consider it.